Hello everyone and welcome back to Thinkers Club. Today we are covering a very important but often ignored topic, that is fundamental duties. Students do focus a lot on rights, but they forget that every right comes with a responsibility. Let's begin with the first topic, that is what are fundamental duties? So fundamental duties are constitutional moral obligations for every citizen of India. These duties are mentioned under Part 4A of the Constitution, and they are expected to be followed by every Indian citizen. Let me just simplify this idea for you. Fundamental rights tell you what you can demand from the state, but fundamental duties tell you what you must give back to the nation. These duties are not just rules, they are responsibilities. They remind us that we must respect the Constitution, we must maintain harmony, we must contribute to the society. And most importantly, rights always come with responsibilities. Now look at this idea. Fundamental duties complement fundamental rights. Can you see this written over here? This is a very major line. You should write this in your notes. Now what does this mean? It means that rights give you freedom and duties ensure that you use that freedom responsibly. If everyone only uses rights but ignores the duties, then there will be a lot of disorder, conflict, lack of discipline. So duties help maintain balance, and rights empower you, but duties guide you. So always remember that fundamental duties are not about force. They are about responsibility, discipline, and awareness. And that is what builds a strong, progressive nation. Now let's understand a very important question. Why are fundamental duties important in a democracy? They are important because democracy is not just about rights, it's also about responsibilities. So, point number one over here says safeguard democratic values. What does that mean? This means that they help protect values like equality, respect, national unity. If citizens don't respect the Constitution, democracy cannot survive. Next point says that it encourages active participation. Democracy is not just voting in every 5 years. It's about being aware, responsible, and involved. Following duties means that you are aware, you're respecting the laws, you're contributing to the society. And the third most important thing is maintain social order. Imagine a society where no one respects rules. Nobody cares about others. That society will fall into chaos. So, duties ensure discipline, harmony, and stability. Now let's, connect all these 3 points. Protect democracy, encourage participation, maintain order. That's how a nation says strong. If you want your nation to be strong, you need to do all these 3 things. These are your duties as a citizen. Rights make you powerful, but duties make a society stable. So always remember, a successful democracy is not built only by laws. It is built by responsible citizens. Responsible is the word. Okay? So let's understand a very important topic, that is the historical background of fundamental duties. Now, this is important because it tells us why these duties were added in the first place. So, fundamental duties were not part of the original constitution of 1950. Okay? When India became independent, only fundamental rights were included. But over time, a gap was noticed. People were demanding rights but not fulfilling the responsibilities. And this created issues like lack of discipline, social imbalance, weak civic sense. So, what did the government do? Fundamental duties were added by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1976. Okay, this was during the emergency period under Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. Now, an important question: where did India get this idea from? Write it in the comment section. Where did India get the idea of adding fundamental duties? Pause this video and go there. So the answer is from the Russian Constitution, USSR Constitution. The Soviet system emphasized duties of citizens towards the state. To implement this, the Swaran Singh Committee was formed, and this committee recommended adding fundamental duties to the Constitution. And the main aim was very simple: to create a balance between rights and responsibilities. So you need to remember these key points, that this was added in the Part 4A of the Constitution. It reflects the 1970s political context and focuses on discipline and responsibility. Rights make a citizen powerful, but duties make a citizen responsible. So fundamental duties were introduced not to restrict people, but to make them more aware, responsible, and disciplined. Now let's come to the legal foundation of fundamental duties, that is Article 51A. This is the article that officially defines and includes fundamental duties in the Constitution. Article 51A was added by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1976, and it forms the base of all fundamental duties in India. These duties are placed under Part 4A of the Constitution, and this part comes just after the Directive Principles of State Policy, DPSP. Now, a very important exam point is that fundamental duties apply only to Indian citizens, no foreigners, no non-citizens, okay? And originally there were 10 fundamental duties, but later one more duty was added by the 86th Amendment Act of 2002. So now there are total 11 duties. And now the most important concept is, are these duties enforceable? No. They are non-justiciable. This means you cannot go to court if someone does not follow their duties. They are not legally enforceable, but they are morally binding. That doesn't mean that they are useless. Courts use fundamental duties as guiding principles for interpreting laws, balancing rights and responsibilities. So you need to understand this clearly, that fundamental rights protect you and fundamental duties guide you. Rights are enforceable, duties are expected. So Article 51A is not just a list, it's a reminder that every citizen has a role to play in building the nation. Now let's understand the key features of fundamental duties. These features help you understand the true nature in the Constitution. First is that they are non-justiciable, which means that they cannot be enforced by courts. If a person does not follow duties, he cannot file a case against them. So remember, rights are enforceable, but duties are not enforceable. Second is they are moral obligations, not legal duties. This means that they are based on ethics, they guide behavior, and they are expected, not forced. They tell you how a responsible citizen should behave. And the third most important feature is that fundamental duties apply only to citizens, not to foreigners, visitors, because duties are connected to responsibility towards the nation. So if we combine all these key features, that's why duties depend on awareness and not punishment. You follow rights because you can demand them. You follow duties because you understand them, that they are your responsibilities. So let's begin to the next slide. Now let's start with the first two fundamental duties: respect and follow ideas. These are the most basic duties because they define your identity as a citizen. Now, duty 1 says that respect the Constitution, flag, and the anthem. What does this mean? It means respect the values of the Constitution, respect the national symbols of your country, and show some discipline as a citizen. For example, standing whenever the national anthem is played, not disrespecting the flag, and following constitutional principles. These are not just formalities, they build national unity and respect. When you respect the Constitution, you respect the entire system of the country. Duty number two is follow ideals of freedom struggle. What are these ideals? Patriotism, sacrifice, unity. Think about freedom fighters. They sacrificed everything for this country. So this duty tells us don't just remember history, live with those values. This includes respecting their legacy, working for the nation, and promoting unity. So these two duties together teach us respecting the nation and following the values that built the nation. And a country becomes strong not just by the laws of the constitution but by the values its citizens follow. So always remember respecting the constitution and learning from our freedom struggle is the foundation of responsible citizenship. Now let's move to the next two very powerful duties, that is the third and the fourth duty, and these duties are directly connected to the security and unity of the nation. Duty number three says that protect sovereignty, unity, and integrity. Firstly, every citizen must protect the sovereignty, unity, and integrity of the nation. That is what this duty is all about. And the meaning of this says that no activity against the nation, no support to divisive forces, and no action that break unity. In real life, this includes reporting anti-national activities, rejecting hatred and division, promoting brotherhood. India is a diverse country and different languages, religions, cultures, so unity is not automatic, it must be protected. The fourth duty says defends the country. This is one of the highest duties of a citizen. This means being ready to serve the nation, supporting defense forces, contributing during emergency, and you may not all become soldiers, but every citizen has a role in national security, following laws, supporting the system, being aware and responsible. So these two duties together mean protect the nation from within and defend it from outside. A nation survives not just because of its army, but because of the loyalty of its citizens. Well, let's move to the next two duties, that is the fifth and the sixth duty. These duties are something very deep, how we live together as a society. First, duty number five says that every citizen must promote harmony and brotherhood. This means that respecting differences, avoiding discrimination, and treating everyone equally. India is a country of diversity, as we know. Different religions are there, everything is different over here, so harmony is to be maintained and created not only by the system but also by its citizens. So practices that disrespect women must be rejected. So it is not just about unity, it's also about dignity and respect. It's like not spreading any hatred, respecting all the communities present, and promoting peace. So this is a fulfilling of this duty is by doing all these things. Duty number six says preserve the rich heritage and culture of India. This includes protecting monuments, respecting traditions, preserving languages and art forms. India's strength lies in its culture, and it is what makes us unique in the world. So, this duty tells us don't lose your roots while moving forward. It also means that respecting the festivals, supporting local art, and preserving tradition. So, these two duties together mean living in harmony with everyone and staying connected to your culture. Now, let's move to the next two duties, 7 and 8. So these duties are very relevant today because they connect directly to our present and future. Duty number seven says every citizen must protect and improve the natural environment. This includes forests, rivers, wildlife, natural resources. What does this mean in real life? Planting trees, avoiding pollution, saving water, protecting animals. This duty is not just about nature, it's about survival. If we don't protect the environment, the future generations will suffer. So this duty teaches us development should not destroy nature. Now, duty number 8 says that develop scientific temper, humanism, and spirit of inquiry. What does this scientific temper mean? It must be seeming a very alien term for you, but it means thinking logically, questioning things, not blindly believing anything and everything. And this includes rejecting superstition, supporting science and research, thinking with reason and evidence. In today's world, fake news, myths, misinformation is all over. So this duty is becoming more aware that what is right and what is not, and not believing anything that's on the social media. So these two duties together meaning protecting the world around you and thinking intelligently within it. Now, duty number 9 and 10, these duties are directly connected to discipline and personal growth. First, every citizen must safeguard public property. What does this public property mean? Roads, railways, government buildings, and public transport. Overall, this duty means that do not damage the public property, no destruction during protests, no misuse of public resources. So, public property is not government property, it belongs to everyone, every citizen of India. So, when people damage buses, trains, roads, they are not harming the government, they are harming the society. Now, the next duty says strive for excellence in all spheres of life. This is a powerful duty because it's about you. Okay, this means work hard, improve yourself, aim for better performance. When individuals improve, the nation improves. So, excellence is not just a personal thing, it's a national growth. This includes studying seriously, being dedicated in work, and innovating and improving skills. So, these two duties together respect the shared resources and improves your personal capability. Now, let's just quickly revise everything we have studied. Um, First, respect the Constitution, flag, anthem, follow ideals of freedom struggle, protect sovereignty of India. These duties define your identity as a responsible citizen. Next is the social duties part, that is, defend the country, promote harmony, preserve culture. These duties are about how we live together as a society. Then the third part, that was modern duties like protecting the environment, developing scientific temper, safeguarding public property, and striving for excellence. Now, these duties are connected to modern development and progress. So, if you look carefully, all the duties together cover nation, society, environment, and individual growth. Let's talk about the last and very important addition to fundamental duties, that is the 86th Constitutional Amendment. This amendment added the 11th fundamental duties that says every parent or guardian must provide education to their child, okay, between the age of 6 to 14 years, as you can see here, this child. This was added in 2002 and it comes under Article 51A K. And now understand the deeper idea. Education is not just a right, it's a responsibility. The amendment is very special because it connects fundamental duties with fundamental rights. Now, how? Because right to education, that is Article 21A, gives children the right, and this duty makes parents responsible. So this ensures that every child gets education, society becomes aware, and the nation becomes stronger. When children are educated, the future of the country becomes strong and secure. So 86th Amendment 2002 added 11th duty, Article 51K, and this is something which combines rights and duties all together. Now let's understand that why do fundamental duties matter today? Okay, because in today's world, having rights is very easy, but using them responsibly is very different and difficult thing. Fundamental duties act as an ethical compass for citizens. They guide us on how to behave in a democratic society. They remind us of one simple truth, that is, rights always come with responsibility. So instead of being passive, citizens become active participants in nation building. These duties promote national pride, and because of that, people contribute actively instead of just expecting benefits. Another important role is that they help in maintaining law and order and discipline. When citizens follow duties, society becomes stable. They also strengthen democratic institutions by promoting values like unity, harmony, respect. So, you need to understand this carefully. Fundamental rights give you power, but fundamental duties control that power so that it's not misused. And a democracy survives not just because people are free, but because people are responsible. Now, let's look at the other side. Criticism of fundamental duties. Because in exams and in real understanding, you must know both strengths and weaknesses. So, first is the criticism. They are not enforceable by law. This means there is no legal penalty if someone does not follow them. So, even if someone disrespects public property, ignores duties, they cannot be punished directly under this part. Next is vague language leads to interpretation issues. The language of duties is sometimes vague. Now, what does vague means? Are clearly defined. Okay. For example, what exactly is scientific temper? What level of excellence is expected? You don't know. These things can be interpreted differently, which creates confusion. Next is the lack of awareness. Most citizens don't even know about fundamental duties, so if people don't know, how will they follow them? So these criticisms show that fundamental duties are strong in theory, but when it comes to implementation, they are somehow weak. But that does not mean that they are useless. They still play a very important role in guiding citizens morally. Relationship with fundamental rights. Now, this is something important because this is where your understanding becomes mature, okay? So tell me one thing. Can a country function if people only demand rights but never follow responsibilities? Exactly. That's why both are connected. First, let's understand fundamental rights. These are legal and enforceable. If your rights are violated, you can go to the court under Article 32 and 226, and they guarantee freedom and protect individuals from misuse of power by the state. Fundamental rights is power as well as protection involved. Now, let's come to fundamental duties. Now, these are moral and non-enforceable. You cannot go to court if someone doesn't follow duties. No direct punishment, but they guide how citizens should behave. Fundamental duties is about responsibility and discipline. Rights and duties are two sides of the same coin. If you have the right to freedom of speech, you also have the duty to not spread hatred. If you have the right to live peacefully, you must respect others' peace too. Your right ends where another person's rights begins. Courts in India have also said that duties help in interpreting rights. They maintain balance between individual freedom and social order. Now, the role of fundamental duties in modern India. Because this is not just theory, this is what connects the Constitution to our daily life. Many people think fundamental duties are just written in books, but actually they are visible everywhere around us. First is environmental protection. Today, India faces challenges like pollution, climate change, deforestation. Our constitution says it is the duty of every citizen to protect the environment. So when you plant trees, avoid plastic, save water, you're not just being a good person, you're following the constitution. Nation building starts from small actions. Now look at the next part. That is national unity. India is a country of diversity. Fundamental duties remind us to stay united despite differences. When you respect others' belief, avoid hatred, promote brotherhood, you strengthen India. Unity is not automatic, it is maintained by responsibility of citizens. Third part, scientific outlook. Our constitution tells us to develop scientific temper. This means thinking logically, questioning blindly followed practices, and believing in facts and evidences. Now, this is what drives progress, technology, innovation, development. When India grows in science and technology, it is because our citizens are thinking rationally. So fundamental duties are not outdated, they are more relevant in modern times today than ever. They shape how we behave, how society functions, and how the nation progresses. Now, this is where things are getting very interesting. Now we move from theory to real application. Now, many of you must be still thinking that fundamental duties are of no use because they are non-justiciable. But let me tell you something, courts actually use fundamental duties. Courts refer to fundamental duties to interpret laws and to balance rights with responsibilities. So even if duties are not directly enforceable, they still influence judicial decisions. Here are some real life case studies that you can see for the use of fundamental duties. Case of Nanda Bharati case versus State of Kerala. You know, this case gives the basic structure doctrine. It says certain features of the Constitution cannot be changed. Fundamental duties support these core values like unity, integrity, and constitutional respect. So duties strengthen the respect and the spirit of the Constitution. Second is the Vishakha versus the state of Rajasthan. This case was about workplace harassment. There was no proper law at that time, so the court used fundamental duties to create guidelines. Duties helped fill legal gaps. Third is the MC Mehta case versus Union of India. This case was focused on environmental protection. The court used fundamental duties to enforce pollution control and protect the nature. So environmental duties became a legal force through courts. So what do we understand from this? Even the fundamental duties are non-justiciable, they are not useless. They act as guiding principles for courts, for laws, and for the government. This is a summary slide of what we have discussed. You can pause this video and give this a look. This is a quick comparison. So first we'll talk about the fundamental rights. These are legal in nature, guaranteed by the Constitution, enforceable by courts. If your rights are violated, you can directly go to the court. They protect your freedom, your liberty, your individuality. Next is the fundamental duties, moral and ethical obligations, not enforceable by the courts, no direct punishment, but they guide how a responsible citizen should behave. So that's all. Now that we have understood fundamental rights and duties, you have built a strong foundation of the Constitution. You have also done the directive principles of state policy. So I have a question for you all. Who actually runs the country? Who takes the decisions and who executes all these constitutional provisions? In our next lecture, we step into the Union Executive. We will understand the President of India, the Vice President of India, and the Prime Minister. The questions I asked, write it in the comment section. You have heard these terms your whole life, the President, Prime Minister, Vice President, but do you really know who holds the real power out of all them? Who is just nominal and how decisions are actually made? Is the president the most powerful person in India or the prime minister? In the next class, we will break down the powers, functions, roles, real versus theoretical authority. And trust me, once you understand this, you will never look at Indian politics the same way again. So don't miss out on the next lecture because this is where things are becoming real. And if you're having any doubts or questions, just write it in the comment section. We are happy to reply and give you feedback. Also, please like, share, and subscribe if you like the content. And we'll meet you in the next lecture. Till the time, bye bye and have a nice day.